Today, I'm going to show you some of the best ways to prompt ChatGPT 1.5 to create some awesome images, like you can see right here, for example. And it's really easy to generate these. And the other crazy thing is, from what I've tested so far, it actually generates better and nicer images from Nano Banana in many cases. So you've got Google's Nano Banana, and then you've got ChatGPT's Image 1.5 update. And honestly, the images coming out of ChatGPT 1.5 are actually better in many ways. You can use it to create, for example, like UGC as well, and then you could turn those into videos. You could create Facebook ads, YouTube thumbnails. You can automate all of this. I'm going to talk you through some of the best ways to prompt it, plus some example prompts. And I'll be giving away all the strategies and techniques inside the AI Success Lab, which we'll come on to in a minute. All right. And the way that I look at this is it's got 5 pillars, right? So clarity, figuring out what the image is about. Contrast, what makes the subject pop from the background? Context, where does this image live? Is it a thumbnail? Is it an ad? Is it a social media post? What perspective and quality level do you want? And then what action do you want the viewer to take? All right. So, for example, here you can see with this prompt for the Nike Air Jordan silhouette. Looks insane, by the way. You can see the quality on the actual um, of the rain and like even the floor and everything like that. Plus, like the neon and everything really stands out. It's got a nice vibe. So, if you want to see how we actually prompted that, let me run you through. So, we actually said a Nike Air Jordan silhouette constructed entirely from dark thunderstorm clouds with tiny lightning bolts crackling through the sole and swoosh logo, floating 3 feet above wet city pavement, reflecting the lighting. Cinematic poster, movie style. Dramatic underlighting from the reflection, electric blue and purple color palette, and then some rays through the cloud material, right? And you can see here that we've got the image generated. Here's another one that we generated. It's kind of like a movie poster, and I'll come on to some ways you can automate this for business as well to help you. And you can see this kind of cool movie poster that we built. It's called The Last Algorithm. And what we said here was a glass skyscraper melting like candle wax, its floors drooping and stretching toward the ground, whilst office lights still glow inside. Pedestrians walking normally below. Oh, that's the wrong one. Here we go. Create a psychological thriller movie poster. A hooded figure stands before a massive wall of glowing code, cascading like the Matrix. But the code is forming into human faces, screaming the last algorithm, right? Dark teal and orange color palette, volumetric fog, IMAX format, right? And then you've got the image right there. And it looks pretty awesome, to be fair. Let's have a look here. If we actually copy the link over here, and then we open this up in a new tab, we can see an example of what it looks like. And it looks super nice, right? And it's really easy to automate these. So the other cool thing about this as well is like it tends to be faster and better versus Nano Banana. So we'll plug the same thing. We'll test the same prompt inside Nano Banana and ChatGPT, which I've actually done, as you can see with this one, right? So this is a banner that we created, kind of like a Facebook ad that you could use, for advertising, that sort of thing. And if you have a look at this, like it doesn't make sense quite, So for example, you've got like white text on a yellow background, so it's really hard to read. The white letter is a bit messy. You can see the spacing as well. So if you were a designer, like that would drive you a bit crazy, but also you're just going to get less clicks, less attention by creating images like that, right? If you're using Nano Banana. So let me show you what we actually did on ChatGPT to use a similar sort of thing, right? And you can see we used exactly the same prompt, but the output was like literally 10 times better, right? It looks way nicer. As you can see, like even the details here. So for example, like yellow text on the black background, and then when you've got the line divide, you've got black text on the yellow background. And then also the white font is actually bolded with a shadow, if that's the right way to explain it, versus this one, which looks pretty bad. So you can see the difference in quality between ChatGPT 1.5 image updates, which you can see right here, versus Google Nano Banana. And it's really like the first time I've truly looked at how to use ChatGPT images properly, because I think it's a very underrated tool. I think most people are not using it, and it's crazy powerful. All right. You can also edit this as well. So you could say, okay, use brighter, more colorful contrasting colors, something like that. And then you can quickly edit it as well. But the speed at which it generates is way faster. So it's pretty awesome. Now, I'm going to show you some examples of what I'd recommend when it comes to actually prompting with this. So let me show you some examples of what I'd recommend. All right. So number one, when it comes to like, generating those images like the Air Jordan one that we did earlier, number one, you want to layer your concepts, right? So combine like two unexpected things. So, think for example, like Renaissance and tech, for example, something like that, old and new, and then specify the lighting. So, for example, like volumetric fog or golden hour, certain types of lighting, etc., and transforms that literally transforms the lighting from like very basic to really cinematic. You can add emotional stakes, inside the narrative. So, for example, like the last, the first, the only, etc., and then request specific art styles. So mixing styles. So, for example, like you could do Ghibli meets Blade Runner, for example, to create really unique aesthetics. And then you want to include like the tiny details, as you saw in that first prompt. So dust particles or coffee stain or cracked screen to add realism and interest. All right. So if we go back to ChatGPT now, you can see that it's generated a new version. I actually don't think that looks as good, but you can see how you can quickly edit images and that sort of thing. Also, the quality is super nice. So quite often I notice with Nano Banana is that when it's generating these images on Nano Banana, quite often it's like low res or low quality, and then you have to go back and forth with it and say like improve the quality or improve the res, etc. Burns says, is it worth to buy a subscription only for image 1.5? It depends how many images you're creating, right? But the thing is, if you're getting faster and better images and you don't have to go back and forth with the AI as much, then for me, like I value my time more than the cost of the subscription. But it depends where you're at and where you're at with your business and that sort of thing. So yes, it's a really powerful way. You could use this for YouTube thumbnails, actually get clicks. You could use it for Facebook ad images. You could do like product mock-ups. You could do UGC style content that doesn't like scream this is fake. And you could also use it for like social proof graphics, and that sort of thing. So it's really, really cool. Now, if we go back to my image prompting guide, the other thing that I would say here is like try and generate like 2 to 3 variations as well. You're not always going to get what you want like perfect. And then also if you're doing like UGC ads, for example, let's say you're running an e-commerce store, that sort of thing, you need some UGC creative. Well, you always want to be adding like the type of quality. So for example, if it's a UGC ad, user generated like selfie or something like that, just put iPhone camera quality or authentic phone camera footage inside the prompt to avoid like it looking over polished. For product shots as well, I'd recommend, making sure that you specify product label is clearly readable. Otherwise, ChatGPT is going to make the text a bit blurry, if that makes sense. Here's another one. So if we go back here, let's go back to this one. So this is a thumbnail image that I generated. And literally what I said was YouTube thumbnail for this, right? So inserted the name of this live stream, similar style to the attached, and then I attached the style right here, and then it gave us an image right here. I'd still go back and forth with ChatGPT a little bit more and generate like 2 or 3 versions to see which one I like the best. But it's quite easy to generate like YouTube thumbnails as well using this process too. So it's getting really good. Now, if we go back here, for faces as well, you would add something like natural skin texture with visible pores to avoid like the waxy face problem. And then, for testimonials, include like small imperfections like slightly messy background or natural flyaway hairs and that sort of thing to just sell the authenticity of that. All right. So here's another one. Here's how you can generate like sort of these AI avatars. So if we go in here, we're going to use a prompt. We said a 32-year-old woman holding her iPhone at selfie angle, excited expression, blah, blah, blah. All right. iPhone, front camera quality, natural skin texture with no retouching, soft daylight, blah, blah, blah. Right. And then we'll plug that in and we'll start generating the outputs, as you can see. So it's beginning to create the image. It's a lot faster than it used to be as well. And then you see you've got like this very realistic looking selfie image right here. and it like even the quality of the image, it feels and looks like an iPhone. The other thing you could do is like if people are generating UGC with this sort of stuff, you could always go over to Nano, well, to Gemini, Google Gemini. Then you would scroll down to create videos, and then you can plug in the script that you want to generate the video for. So for example, you can say, okay, generate a video of this woman talking about her favorite skincare product, right? And then go from there. Vernon says, that is crazy, dude. Wow. Yeah, it's pretty insane. The other thing I like about it as well is it's quite fast. So, I mean, we could do a speed test in a second of Nano Banana versus Gemini as well. So if we do a new chat here inside ChatGPT and also Gemini, the other thing I like as well is like usually with Gemini, you have to click generate image to get an image out of it. Otherwise, it will just generate a text response. Whereas with ChatGPT, it automatically figures out that this is for an image. So it's generating the video for that. We'll come back to that in a second. All right. So we can also do like these sort of call out banners as well. Let's try that out. So product on the left side of the frame, right side has clean icons with short text call outs. This would be like a very basic Facebook ad that you could use, or a banner image and that sort of thing. So if we plug that into ChatGPT, and then we're going to use Nano Banana, and we'll test which one creates the image the fastest. All right, so you can see here that you don't have to select images for it to pick up that this is for an image, right? It understands what an image is and what an image prompt would look like. So Nano Banana tends to take quite a bit longer to generate the images. And in the meantime, let me show you this one as well. So this is kind of like quite cool for just generating surreal sort of cinematic images. So for example, like an astronaut in a dusty white spacesuit standing before an ornate Victorian wooden door. And you get the notification once this image is created as well. So if we have a look here, here's like a, sort of like a clean basic product image that you could use, for example, for a sales page or that sort of thing, especially if you're in the e-commerce niche. If we have a look here, you got an example from Nano Banana as well. And then it's pointing. To be fair, that's pretty nice as well. They've both generated nicer images. It's just that ChatGPT tends to generate images faster. But yeah, both look pretty cool. So, you can use these image stylings as well for Gemini as well. So you can use the same sort of prompting style. But here's like a kind of surreal, cool image that you can see right here using the same sort of methods. So it's pretty cool. What I've actually done is I've plugged in a 30-day plan with prompts day by day. So you can see how to use this stuff, how to implement it, etc. This is a 30-day prompting plan for you to master ChatGPT 1.5 images, right? So if you want to learn how to use this stuff, etc., for example, you can just copy and paste this prompt, go over to ChatGPT, generate the image like so of the AI avatar video, AI avatar, and then you can go from there. If you go back to Gemini as well, we've got the video that's ready now here as well using that image. So you can create images and then create UGC videos from that, as you can see. And there she is. That actually has audio over the top, and you can see that it's inserted the skincare product. So we said, for example, I'm generating a video of the woman talking about her favorite skincare product as we specified in the prompt. And then, you could use that for e-commerce. So you could just plug in an image of a product, plug in an image of whatever you want to promote, and then go from there, right? And then generate videos as well. Let me show you another example. So if we take, for example, let's take the book from my website. As you can see, we'll go back to Gemini, right? We'll take the image of the lady, and then we'll take the image of my book. Let's copy that image. All right. And then we'll say, okay, generate a video of this woman talking about the book and how good it is, right? And then it should insert that book into the video with the image of the AI avatar as well. Vernon says, where can I access the page you are following the instructions? So if you want to get the instructions from today, you can get that You can get that inside the AI Success Lab, link in the comments and description, or just go to ChatGPT and say Julian Goldie AI Success Lab, and it'll find it for you. This is a community with 43,200 people, completely free. And if you go to the classroom here, then you go to January 2026, new automations, you actually see an extra free video tutorial that I've created for you, all the links and resources from today. And then also I've walked through the framework that we use for prompting, as you can see. And then we've given you a 30-day challenge for really learning how to build and create with this stuff, right? Also, if we go down here, what we actually added is 100 prompts that you could use when it comes to actually generating stuff inside your business, right? So for example, like YouTube thumbnails, you've got, for example, Facebook ad and Instagram ad prompts, right? Professional and corporate stuff, product and photography and that sort of thing, right? So pretty much any prompt you can think of is, or any category of prompt is inside there, right? Here's another example. So this is the prompt from the 30-day plan, and you can see you can easily generate these sort of selfie images that look very realistic, but of course it's fully automated with AI, right? Pretty insane. So you can have a look here, right? And this is the video of the lady talking about the book and how good it is. And then if we have a look here, we'll play this video back, and you can see that she's holding up my book, right? So it says Julian Goldie on the book. That's like a lifelike video of my book, and you can see we just use that from like a 2D photo, right? Little 2D photo right there, right? And if we scroll down here, you can see like it looks very realistic, it looks very real, it looks pretty cool. And how easy was that to generate, right? Just a couple of clicks. And then you can download that and use it how you will. So that's it. You've seen how to generate like product images, how to generate videos, how to generate avatars, and then turn them into avatar videos and UGC content. I've given you a 30-day plan for learning this stuff, and also an extra video tutorial, over 100 prompts and that sort of thing on how to use this. You know, there's so much stuff you can do with this. It's absolutely wild. Let's run through some of the limited beliefs. I know some people say like text in images never works, right? But, you know, I think GPT image 1.5 has solved the text problem. So for example, if we go back to some of the stuff that we generated earlier, right? So for example, this one, you can see that the text itself is rendered nicely, and it's all spelled correctly as well. And so this used to be true, but I think, you know, GPT image 1.5 has really changed that. And I've generated loads of images with this stuff, and it seems to have evolved and unlocked that capability to generate text correctly. Other people are going to say, well, you know, creating content visuals with AI takes too long, but you've seen how quick it is. It's faster than Nano Banana for using this. And, you know, I really value my time, so that helps a lot too. And then other people will say, well, I can't compete with brands that have design teams, but I think AI is the equalizer. So, you know, solo operators or smaller entrepreneurs can now create images at scale, produce a lot of content, and then you can iterate on this as well, right? So you can describe the edits. So for example, for this, if you said, make the background yellow, like so, you can easily edit the image, change what you want, etc. Right? You can also select different areas of this. So you could change like the background, and then just based on your selection, you could say, okay, change the background to a waterfall, something like that. And then I think it will go off and do it, right? And it does it pretty quickly as well. And then, you know, you can easily insert these videos and that sort of thing. So really powerful tool, very underrated. I know ChatGPT, it doesn't have a good reputation, especially with 5.2 that just came out recently, but you can see how easy it is to edit images, create them, and the outputs are super nice. And you can prompt in so many different ways. So thanks so much for watching. If you want to get the video notes from today, that's inside the AI Success Lab. Link in the comments and the description. This connects you with 43,200 people interested in AI. You can post inside the community, lots of people introducing themselves and that sort of thing. Also, if you go to the classroom here and then you go to this section, you'll get all the video notes from today. And additionally, if you haven't already, check out the AI Profit Boardroom. This is really how we, you know, take stuff like ChatGPT 1.5 images and then turn it into something you can actually use for your business. So, for example, here you can see inside the community, we have a daily accountability check-in where you can join the accountability group, hold yourself accountable to getting everything done that you need to. You can also share your wins. as you can see right here. So for example, like Darren became an Etsy star seller in January. It's pretty amazing. Like congrats to Darren. And you can see, for example, Sandra posted about how she's feeling accomplished by all the stuff she's done. So you can share your wins. These are people actually getting results with AI. You can share your goals. You can ask questions. And then also, you probably haven't seen this already, but we have 109 pages of testimonials from people getting results with AI based on the stuff that we show there, right? So you can see, for example, Tino is talking about how we're the real deal. You can see Clint is getting results with this stuff. Elsa saying how the community is next level. There's 109 pages of wins like this from people just getting awesome results with AI and the AI profit boardroom. So feel free to check that out. Link in the comments and description. Also comes with 4 coaching calls per week, and also all of my best playbooks and strategies for using AI. So if you want to learn AI from start to finish, you can get access right there. If you want to learn my best automations for AI videos, you can get that here. If you struggle with overwhelm, we have a focus protocol inside the AI profit boardroom as well, which helps you solve, like, for example, it helps you solve the problems of shiny object syndrome that come with AI. Also, we have an agency course. So if you're an agency or a freelancer, you want to get more clients, you can study that. And then also we have AI SEO automations and a full YouTube AI roadmap. So you can get that all inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Link in the comments description, or just go to aiprofitboardroom.com. So today we're going to be running through Open Notebook LM, which is basically like a local version of Notebook LM. You can run on your laptops, kind of like a competitor, but the difference is you can actually use it for free, running it locally, and it's fairly easy to set up. Now, the way that I'm going to set this up is I'm going to run it directly inside Claude Code. So if we take the GitHub from this, as you can see, and you can see the comparison here, Open Notebook versus Google Notebook. So Open Notebook, it's self-hosted, so you've got your own data. You can use 16 providers, including free options from Olama. You can actually choose between 1 to 4 different speakers, whereas with Google Notebook LM, you can only pick 2 speakers. You get context control, so you get 3 granular levels, whereas with Notebook LM, you don't get that. Also with content transformations, right? You got customer built in, whereas with Google Notebook LM, you actually have limited options. Also, you can choose your own API, whereas, for example, with Notebook LM, you can only choose Google models as well, right? And then also you can customize it a lot more, and you can deploy it with Docker as well. So let's get straight into this. The way that I'm going to run it is just through Claude Code, which tends to be the easiest. So I'm going to go into the terminal here. I've opened up Claude Code, as you can see, and we're going to continue like so. And then I'm going to say, okay, run this. We're going to start running Open Notebook LM. The reason I do this is I hate messing around with terminal instructions. And so Claude Code tends to open it up a lot quicker. And then you can see it gives me a bunch of options. So I'm going to hit yes, let's go. And I'm just going to open up Docker as well in the meantime too. If you want to use Docker, you can actually install it via docker.com, and it's free to download, as you can see. Literally takes like 2 minutes to download, as you can see, and install. Then we can go back to the terminal. We can choose which AI provider we want to use. So I'm actually going to open up Olama, which is free and local. And you can see like the cool thing I like about using Claude Code to do this is like it's just so much easier and faster, right? It gives you the options. For example, I can select between OpenAI or Olama. I'm actually going to use Olama. Olama is a free model you can run locally, as you can see. And if you don't want to use Claude Code or you don't use Claude Code, then just copy and paste the GitHub into Claude and you can go from there. So we're going to continue now. That's going to set up the Docker container, as you can see. And it's actually set up and installed Docker as well. The other thing I like about this method is I don't have to set up everything manually. So it gives me the API options and then I just pick the one that I want to go with. And then if you go into Docker, you can see that Claude Code is set up, open notebook. And then if we open it up from Docker, you can see we have open notebook set up. Pretty easy, right? That is so much easier than the old days when you used to run a terminal and figure it all out yourself. So now we're going to click yes, proceed. And if we go to the model section, you can see we just need to configure this. And then it actually gives us the instructions inside Claude Code to set up Olama. So make sure you've got Olama set up, as you can see. And then we're just going to start adding it as a provider. So we go to settings. And if you don't want to configure it directly, you can just say to Claude Code, can you configure Olama to run a notebook? As you can see, now it's going to pull in the model, and it's running with Gemma 3 4B, which is a local free model, one of the fastest. Burn says, I didn't know you could do that with Claude Code. Yeah, it's amazing. Game changing. I only found out recently as well. And you can see it's pulling in another model as well. So it's pulling in Quen 57B into Olama. And then what it will do once it's finished is configure Open Notebook to use Olama. Now, if we go to Open Notebook, you can see Olama is configured right there. Beautiful. All right. One of the things that really helped here was if you go to your models here inside Open Notebook, click on Learn how to configure, copy all of that, and then paste it into Claude Code, as you can see right here. To configure it with Olama, it will shut down the Docker, then reset it up with Olama so that all the models are configured. And then we can just add the model. So select a provider. And we can use Quen 2.57b or Gemma 3b for this. All right, so let's try this out. I think Quen will be a little bit slow whilst I'm live streaming, so I'm just going to go with Gemma for now. So let's try that. Put it in the model name. Then we'll add an embedding tool as well. So for embedding, we can use XPy. Let's try that out. I'm just going to open up Alarma and make sure we have XPy set up. And if you want to just make sure this is set up correctly, you can just go into the ask and search section here. If you type in like test, are you working? Hit ask, and it should be using Gemma 3.4b to set this up, as you can see, right? So you can see the user is asking if I'm operational. There we go, right? So it's actually working. Now, if you want to use text to speech as well, so Open Notebook can also generate podcasts. Then you can use one of these models. But bear in mind, like text to speech would have an API cost. Whereas, for example, like embedding, transformations, tools, and chat, these are all free because you can use Olama. So it's up to you if you want to use that or not. So now we've got that set up with Claude Code, relatively easy. I mean, it does all the technical stuff for you. you can now start using it, right? So you can add sources, you can add notebooks, etc. Ernesto says, what software do you use to record your videos? So I use StreamYard. StreamYard is the one that I start using. Coach Chrome says you Google Pro. Okay, cool. So we can add new sources here. If we go to notebook, let's do a test run. Then we can add sources and write notes, right? We can also chat with a notebook here. So let's add a source. I think you can add an existing source as well. So if you've added sources previously, you can. If we add new source, you can choose between upload text and links, right? So you can actually add website URLs into here. Let's try this out. And then if we go into sources, you can see that it's loading up the source, right? So once you add a new source to a notebook, like for example, this one, you can see that it's pulling in and it's actually scraping the web with that information. So it can connect to the website. It can grab all the information from that site. As you can see, it's pulled in, for example, some of the images, the text from that website as well. And it connects locally to that page, which is pretty nice. And then if you go inside the notebook here, you can add more information and that sort of thing, right? So now we've got this notebook that's trained up on me, my website, etc. If I say like, okay, um, what does Julian Goldie do? This is a test run. We'll see if this chat can connect to that and speak to the sources. Now, if you want to use a podcast feature, what I recommend using is you could use ChatGPT's API, which obviously is paid, or you could use 11 Labs API as well. It's a small cost per podcast, but it's going to give you like the best quality output, to be honest. And there you go. So it's actually taken the information from the source, connected it. It's called me a fascinating, incredibly talented individual. I'll take that. And then it's got some information about me, what I do, my page, etc. So you can take my website there. So if we go into this chat now and say, okay, create a lead magnet for Julian Goldie's website, see the attached source, use that and generate a new lead magnet. All right, so it's taking the information from the source there, and then we'll get it to create a lead magnet for us. And depending on how powerful your laptop is, that will sort of decide how fast it's going to respond, right? But it's creating the lead magnet, as you can see. And there we go. So you can see it's created a lead magnet, the idea, and it's generated based on my link building websites. I have an SEO link building agency. It said, here's a headline, here's a sub headline, here's the idea for the lead magnet. We've just fully automated that using the sources that were plugged in. Now, obviously, you could do a lot more with this. You can generate podcasts, you can connect it to the web, you could add like 10 or 15 different sources to your notebook and then generate, something even bigger. But you can see how easy it is to set up, how easy it is to run. Bear in mind, like if you're using Open NotebookLM, then you get more privacy, right? Whereas if you're using NotebookLM directly on the website, that's attached to your Google account, all your data is stored in the cloud, etc. Also, you can choose free AI providers with Olama, so you can run this locally free. And then you get a lot more customization inside Open Notebook that you wouldn't get inside your average sort of NotebookLM. And then if you go to advanced, you can change some more settings. You've got your settings right here as well. You can do more transformations. So like key insights and stuff like that. So you can go to the playground here and run some transformations and that sort of thing, which is pretty cool. And then you can pick between all your models and just customize it how you want. So you might be like, right, I want to use NotebookLM, but I want to use Claude because I love the writing from Claude. I think the outputs are much better. Well, then you can configure Anthropic inside the settings here and just use that instead, right? Or DeepSeek or 11 Labs, for example, as well. The other cool thing with 11 Labs is like you can choose more speakers, right? So when you generate a podcast inside NotebookLM, typically you're only going to get 1 to 2 speakers inside the audio overview here, right? So you're quite limited. If you use Open Notebook LM, then you can generate more voices, more different voices, more models, etc. So there's just a lot more customization using this. So thanks so much for watching. What I've actually done is included all the links and the resources from today. I've included a full framework on how to use this, a 30-day plan for mastering it, and also we've included 100 prompts you can test using this process. So if you want to test out NotebookLM, you can get all the free resources from today inside the AI Success Lab. This is a community that connects you with 43,200 people. If you go to the classroom here, then you go to January, you'll find the trainings on Open Notebook, as well as a full video tutorial on how to use this stuff. And bear in mind, like this whole community is better than most people's paid stuff. It connects you to more people. It's got more video tutorials, gets updated every single day, and we include all the prompts, frameworks, 30-day plans for pretty much every single tool out there. All right. If you want to connect with me personally, if you want to get the best automations, etc., then you can go inside the AI Profit Boardroom. And inside this community, we have 2,000 serious AI builders who are using AI to win, right? And you can see people sharing the wins right here. You can see there's a very active community. We have a daily accountability check-in post as well. So you can see this is pinned at the top. This was just 32 minutes ago, and people are already posting their goals and their check-in and their accountability. On top of that, inside the classroom, if you want to learn how to use AI for business automation, you can check out our 6-week masterclass. If you want to learn how to automate AI avatar videos, you can check out this section. If you want to get more clients, then check out the agency course here. And if you want to get AI SEO automations, we have a full section on that, as well as a YouTube AI roadmap. Top of that, you can get coaching here. So you can jump on live coaching calls, get help and support from AI PhD trained specialist on a live call, plus meet the rest of the community. And if you struggle with overwhelm, confusion, too much information, if you struggle with shiny object syndrome, then we actually have a full focus protocol on exactly how to stay focused based on what's working for me. So you can get that all inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Link in the comments and the description. Notebook LM just got a massive upgrade, and you can now import notebooks into Gemini. Now, you can basically build anything with it. And I'm going to show you today how you can use a combination of Notebook LM and Google Gemini to build landing pages, interactive games, lead capture tools, client dashboards, right? Mini apps as well. And there's no coding needed. I'm going to show you exactly how it works. We're going to test it live right here, right now. I'm going to upload some notebooks into Gemini and then use dynamic view and canvas to build stuff that would have taken weeks to do. And in minutes, even if you've never written a single line of code, even if you think you're not technical enough, even if you've tried AI tools and they felt confusing, this is different. This is the new Google AI stack working together. NotebookLM does the thinking, Gemini does the building, and you just describe what you want. So by the end of this video, you'll learn how to connect NotebookLM notebooks to Gemini, which is a brand new feature. You'll learn how to use dynamic view to create interactive mini apps instantly, how to build landing pages, quizzes, games, and tools with zero code, the exact 30-day system to master this. Plus, I'll give you 100 prompts to use right now, okay? So the method that we're going to be using is this one right here. And what we're going to be using with this framework is you're going to build your knowledge inside NotebookLM, then you're going to connect your notebooks, then you're going to use dynamic view or canvas to build stuff, and you're going to share or use what you built, the result, right? And this is like having a developer on your team, except this one works at like 4:30 a.m. or whenever you need it to, right? And it doesn't complain or, get worried when you change your mind 47 times, right? So if you want to, for example, start building with this, first of all, you're going to need a notebook. So I've got one that's set up right here. You just insert your sources, your website, whatever. You can do some research if you need to insert different stuff here, right? And then, for example, what we can do is we can go over to Gemini here, go to NotebookLM. We can plug in the notebook that we've got. So for example, I've got this agency sales training for my team, as you can see. And then from here, we're going to add that. Now, what you're going to do from here is you're going to click on dynamic view, right? And we're going to say, create a sales training tool for my SEO agency to train new reps to learn the whole playbook of how to sell SEO, right? We're going to take the sales training materials or the SOP, all the research that I've imported into this. So you can actually see we've actually plugged in 50 sources into this using deep research. If you're not sure how to do that, all you do is you would just go to notebook, create a new notebook. I've plugged in my sales SOP, which is like a 6-page playbook on how to sell SEO. And then what I've also done is switch to deep research. And I just said, like, find some agency training sources for selling SEO, right? And then you can hit enter and now actually go off and do all the deep research and import the sources for you. So if we go back to this notebook, this is the one that we're using for today's demo. And then you can see this is now building out the SEO accelerator, right? And you can see here, it's got like a pitch simulator, an objection dojo is spotting the errors if our team have any problems, and also discovery scripts that they can use and the process as well, right? And that's going to build out the app, as we can see, literally whilst I'm talking to you. So you can easily like combine the power of Gemini with the power of NotebookLM and create like these amazing landing pages and testimonials and stuff like that. We could go back here. We could go into Google Gemini, plug in a similar sort of notebook process, right? For example, like this, and you can actually gamify the training process. So for example, if we go into Canvas here and we say, okay, build a quiz game for this playbook to help people learn SEO whilst having fun, right? Learn how to sell SEO whilst having fun. It will actually import the notebook into Gemini and then start building out a quiz game that we can use to train our team as well, right? And all of a sudden, training becomes fun. I don't have to answer the same things a million times, and we've got 2 apps building out at the same time, right? You can see this is still being constructed, so it's going to take a couple of minutes to generate. But once it does, you can see that you're going to have something really nice that you can also share with your team, share with the world, and help people, right? The same with this. So this is actually coding out a tool for us based on our idea, and we don't need to be able to code or anything like that. We just need the idea, and then from there we're good to go, all right? So in terms of the 30-day plan, what I recommend is you start off on day 1, just creating your first NotebookLM notebook, right? So you go to NotebookLM, new notebook, name it something useful, and you can basically build like a business brain, like an AI business brain that has information on your best performing blog posts, your service pages, any documents that explain what you do, right? And then this can become like the personal trainer for new people that you bring onto your business or for coming up with marketing materials and stuff like that, right? And we've got a full 30-day plan that you can follow for using this stuff. And now we have the app that's ready, right? So you can see here that it's got the dashboard, and it's like, right, here's how to master the art of selling SEO. Here's the opportunity, the psychology, the objection, defense, etc. Right? If we go to the process map, this actually shows people what to do step by step to get results with selling SEO, right? So if we zoom out here, you can see we've got the discovery and qualification process, the technical audit, the strategy proposal, and the closing. That is our sales process, but it's broken down from what was previously, if we have a look here, a 92-page playbook, as you can see right here, along with a notebook with like 50 sources. So it's taken all that massive stack of information, and then it's turned it into a nice little fun mini map that doesn't just confuse people, right? People can just go through it, they can quickly on board, they can learn how to use this stuff, and then from there they're good to go, right? And then they've also got a bunch of discovery questions that they can ask right here. So for example, for business goals, for pain and history, etc. And they can just learn and practice this stuff as they go along, right? So for example, like, who is the one competitor you hate losing to? Or why do clients choose them after you, right? Have you seen what competitor X is doing with their content, right? These are easy ways to sort of sell on a discovery process when you're selling SEO. And so you can also do like spot the errors tasks here. So you can actually start an audit, and then this is kind of like a game that's created where you spot the errors on this person's website, right? And it kind of creates a game where people can figure out, okay, here's how to spot the errors and simulate an audit with a live client. Pretty cool, right? So for example, like speed issues or not mobile optimized. You also got the objection dojo. So for example, here it's like, won't AI end SEO? And then it's got the flashcard for learning that, right? How to handle that objection. And then finally, we've got the pitch simulator, right? Which is pretty crazy. So here it simulates a pitch with a prospect. And again, like a new sales rep can just understand the sales process. Now, this is not about selling. This is not about that sort of stuff, but it's really about learning how can you use this in creative ways to create amazing apps or games or quizzes and that sort of thing to, number one, generate content. Number two, train your team. Number three, learn something new, etc. Like, you know, if you were learning Spanish, for example, well, then you could add all your sources into NotebookLM, import that into Gemini, create like a flashcard quiz or like a Duolingo style app, and then from there you're good to go. But it's all personalized to you and your specific use case. So you can build out an amazing app using all the best research on the internet as well. Right? And this is stuff that you can't really do elsewhere. So it's a pretty amazing feature that you can build with this. And you could also build websites for this too. So for example, if we go on to a new chat here and we're like, right, let's take in a notebook, we'll plug this in. And let's say, for example, you were building out a website about football tactical analysis, right? You could then select Canvas and you can say, okay, build a landing page for someone selling a community about football tactical analysis, right? And then from here, we'll take the information from that notebook and start creating a landing page as well. The other cool thing here that you can do is inside Gemini, you can load multiple notebooks, right? So if you have multiple notebooks related to your business, but for different use cases, so for example, you might have one about YouTube content ideas, and then one with your agency SOPs, and then one with competitor analysis, etc. Well, you can load them all in at the same time and then build something around that, which is pretty cool. So many different ways you could use this, so many different opportunities, etc. Some people will say, well, these AI tools are just toys, not real business tools. But I think the new empowering belief here is like, NotebookLM is powered by Gemini 3, Google's most intelligent model, right? Some of the best technology in the world, and it's available to you. So this isn't a toy. This is the same level of technology that enterprises are using, and it's wrapped in a simple interface that you can use right now as well. So the question really isn't whether it's powerful enough. The question is whether you'll use it. Other people will say, well, I'll fall behind if I don't learn every new AI tool. But I think with this, some people struggle with shiny object syndrome and that sort of thing. So you'll actually fall behind if you try to learn every new AI tool. So, shiny object syndrome is one of the worst ways to stop your progress. And I would focus on just mastering fewer tools but deeply. So, for example, like Gemini with NotebookLM and Gemini Canvas, right? That's a stack. That's enough. You don't need like 47 AI subscriptions. You need depth in a few tools, and that's how you actually get results. So, I'll say basically no to everything, like new tools, new features, new distractions, unless they make my core stack better. Now, what I've also done inside the notes from today is give you 100 prompts that you can test with NotebookLM, Gemini, and Dynamic Views and Canvas, right? So, for example, I've given you a bunch of ideas for business tools, for learning and education, for games and engagement, right? For data and visualization, and also for creative prompts as well. So, there's all sorts of cool stuff you can do with this. Now, if we go back to NotebookLM here, you can see, for example, it's built out the landing page. The UI looks super nice as well. And then you can see it's taken all the information from the notebook and then plugged that into a canvas, like you can see right here. And we just automated that whilst I was talking to you. Right? So it's super simple. The other cool thing you can do here as well is if we go back, for example, to that app that we built previously, this one, for example, this one, right, the quiz, you can actually click on the share. And then if you click on share here, you can share this with your team, or share this with the world, or share it with people in your audience you're building tools for. So if we copy that link, open that up, you can now see that I could share that with my team and train them on how to sell, right? And if we have a look at this is the SEO playbook simulator. So if we start this, you can see that it's given a question on mindset, and it's like, right, it's 9 a.m., you're preparing for your day. What is the agency's core belief about handling leads? Here we go. We click on that. There we go. Boom. Good to go. Right. And so you can create these custom quizzes that help your team learn on board, help you learn, and it's super easy to set up. So that's basically it on how to build anything with Notebook LM. What I've actually done is inside the free notes from today, inside the AI Success Lab, which is a free community with 43,200 members, as you can see. If you go to the classroom here, then you're going to go to January. In this section, you can find a 4-hour training, which is a free course on how to use NotebookLM. I've included all the links to the resources from today. And additionally, you've got a 30-day plan for implementing this and mastering it. And I've included 100 Notebook LM and Gemini prompts that you can use to build business tools and automate pretty much anything. So thanks so much for getting that. That's inside the AI Success Lab. And then if you want to learn automation, how to apply it to your business, if you want to join an amazing community of people who are winning with AI, feel free to join the AI Profit Boardroom. Inside the AI Profit Boardroom, we show you the best ways to use AI automation. So for example, if you struggle with overwhelm, we actually have a 6-week AI automation masterclass that shows you how to go from complete beginner to expert in just 5 weeks. And it shows you everything you need to really learn this stuff. On top of that, inside the classroom here, you get our playbook on how to build AI avatar videos, which is something I get asked pretty much every single day, to be honest. So you can see, for example, how we create screen shares and faceless channels and that sort of thing. On top of that, you'll see our best trainings on how to get clients with the agency course. You get our full section and module on AI SEO automation and also YouTube AI as well. So these are all our best trainings and courses on how to use this stuff. And also, if you want to jump on coaching calls live and get help and support, jump on a Zoom call, ask questions about your business and how to automate specifically, then you can join the Our Profit Boredom coaching calls. And we have weekly coaching calls where we show you everything you need to learn, right? And this is all inside here as well. So you can jump on these live coaching calls. And if you can't make them, they get recorded and posted right here. So feel free to get that link in the comments and description. That's all inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Today, I'm going to show you how I automate Twitter or X with Claude. And this is a really powerful way, for example, that we use to reach 250,000 people a day. As you can see on X and Twitter, we get results like this per month. And the way that we're using this is by creating a greatest hit system, which I'm going to show you where an AI actually analyzes what's performing right now, what's not working, and then how can we create amazing tweets that reach a lot of people. So you can see, for example, these are our analytics over the last few weeks, and we're gradually breaking through these plateaus. We're getting some amazing results, etc. You can see our followers and follows over time. We get more and more, and you can see the engagement rate, right? And most of the metrics are up massively. So for example, here you can see reposts, likes, bookmarks, shares, engagements, engagement rate, etc. is all increasing as we use this new system that I'll break down for you, right? And essentially what you're going to learn today is how to find your winning tweets, the 10% that actually get reach, how to analyze why they worked, which is what most people skip, how to build a Claude project that writes tweets in your voice, the exact prompt I use to generate unlimited content ideas, and how to do this even if you're brand new to X or you don't have any followers. And this system is probably one of the most powerful things I've ever built. And I'm going to show you why this system works. All right. So first of all, what it's going to do is actually going to find your winners, right? So the X analytics show you exactly which tweets got the most impressions, and these are your best performers, right? And so, for example, if we go to X, you can see that if we check out our tweets over here on our profile, you can see how we're performing, what's working for us, how many people we're reaching in each tweet. Now, the problem is that if you're tweeting out a lot, you're going to have a bottom 90% that don't perform well. And so you want to keep avoiding those, right? And so what I'm going to show you today is how to avoid the losers and how to build a content machine where Claude actually understands your winning patterns. It can write unlimited tweets that follow the same formula without sounding like a robot, without copying other people, and without losing your voice. All right. So let's get straight into it. And you want to think of it like this: like your X account is like a gym, right? Some exercises build muscle, some exercises waste time, right? And most people just show up and do random thing, but winners track everything. So you know we're going to track what works on X and then do more of it, right? What people don't understand about Claude is that regular Claude is not going to remember everything from previous chats, right? But what you're going to do here with Claude projects, as you can see, is you can set up and upload your winners. So I've actually added like all my best performing tweets, as you can see on the right hand side here, and then we can use that to generate more of them. And then you're going to insert some custom instructions that show you exactly how to do this. So let's get straight into it. What am I doing? Right. Okay. So what you've got here is a spreadsheet, and I track the date, the X post, the views, and then the hook, right? And really what I tend to find is like with hooks on X, that's like the 80-20 of its performance, right? So if you get a really good hook, like you can see right here, um, with this process, you can get, a lot of views, right? If you have the right hook. Really, the first few lines are the most important when it comes to X. So what we're doing here is we're analyzing, okay, when did we post this tweet? What's the link? How many views did it get? And then what's the hook we actually used for that tweet, right? And so if we keep scrolling down here, you can see, for example, we keep a track of our greatest hits, and then we have a list of our top 10% hooks. So these are the best performing hooks that we've used on X, and these are the winners. And we're going to tell Claude to do more of this. And then over here, you can see these are our worst performing hooks, right? So these are the bottom 90% hook styles that didn't perform, and we want to avoid these, right? And so when you go into Claude and you're updating the spreadsheet each day and you're tracking your tweets and how many views they got and the date, etc., what you're going to do is you're going to add the top 10%, so the ones that get the best views inside this list. Then you're going to get the bottom 90%, and you're going to add them to this list. And then you're going to go inside Claude here, as you can see inside Claude. You're going to go to projects, add a new project. So you add the name and the description. And once you set that up, it's going to look something like this, right? So for example, I've called it greatest hits rewriter. Now in the instructions, what I've actually done is I've pasted all the bottom performers, so the bottom 90% and the top 10%. And then I've added my target audience for content on Twitter. And I've said, based on what I paste in, rewrite these to go viral and use the winning tweets above to come up with a copy based on what already worked, right? On the top 10% and how to avoid the bottom 90%, right? And the cool thing is Claude can basically analyze the patterns of what's worked previously and then use that to rewrite and create new tweets, right? Now, the other thing with X, this is something that I found is like it's a very forgiving algorithm, right? Which means that you can create a lot of content. You know, if one tweet doesn't work, that's okay. Post another, right? So we'll post a lot of content each day, and then we'll get more data on what works well, right? So, for example, this one is beginning to take off. This is from 5 hours ago, and it's generated 1,000 views, right? And so when we're generating these tweets, we create a lot of content, we get more data. The more data we get by creating a lot of content, the better our Claude project gets because we update this daily, right? And then every time we have a good tweet, we just put it into the list here. So you can see, right, bang a post. And you can see all these different conversations we've done, right? Now, how do you start creating and automating the content with Claude from here? Well, here's what I do. This is my process, right? So I go into my SOP section here. As you can see, so we're going to open up these. I've just got like a copy and paste list that I can quickly go through, right? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to download like one of the latest videos. So for example, I can take this one, download it. If you don't have videos, that's okay. You can use images or generate images with Nano Banana, or even generate automated videos with NotebookLM, right? You're going to download the video, as you can see. And then in the meantime, whilst that's downloading, we can go to view video on YouTube. We're going to open up the transcript, as you can see here, copy the transcript. Then we're going to go over to Claude to our project, paste in the transcript from the video. And in the meantime, we've got the video downloaded. So we'll plug that into Twitter, as you can see. And then that's going to start generating the tweet based on the highest viral potential, right? And so what this is doing is it's actually analyzing based on our previous tweets and the transcript that we've plugged in, let's create something contextually relevant to that video that we can then copy and paste straight into Claude. Now it's going to give me multiple options because sometimes you won't like the top option, or you think, okay, maybe there's a bunch of other stuff that we can get, right? And you can see like the way that it's formatted is super nice, but it also follows a format that's already worked for us previously, right? And you can always wait for that to fully roll out. So we can wait for all the content to be written, as you can see. Or what we can do is just stop that and then just take the top tweet, right? So for example, if we copy this, we go to Twitter like so, and then we're just going to format it nicely, as you can see. Sometimes when you copy and paste, it doesn't look as nice. But to create like a really high performing tweet now, it only takes me like less than 60 seconds. My team can use this as well. My team can use the same prompt. And so we've got the video attached. We've got the content from Claude right here based on the hooks that previously worked for us. It's also bolded the top 4 lines. So it's used Unicode to bold that when we copy and paste from Claude directly. And then if we hit enter and command, if you're on a Mac, then you can see we've got the post right here. Then what I do is I go back to my sheet. So if we go back to my sheet over here, we're going to paste that in. We're going to add the date. So let's add the date here. We're going to plug those in, add in the number, and we'll come back and measure those in like 24 hours, right? And we just keep building up more and more data on what's working, what's not working. And then, you know, how can we improve the project to get better and better outputs, right? And so by doing this, you can quickly automate X content. You could use this on LinkedIn and Facebook as well. You could also use it for email content as well. And it's really easy to just automate your content based on what's performing the best, right? Based on what's working previously. And that's the main thing here is like, how can you create content that performs really well, but in a quick automated way that actually writes better than I would, right? I mean, to come up with a tweet like this, it might take me like half an hour minimum. And then it's going to use all my creative energy on something that I could just automate quickly with Claude. The reason that I use Claude instead of using ChatGPT or instead of using these other LLMs is that Claude tends to be the most humanized, the most sentient, and it tends to write the best performing copy when I've tested everything across every platform. For example, if we check out this landing page as well, that performs pretty well for me. This landing page, we actually generated fully with Claude. It even did the design as well. So, there's so much you can do with Claude. It is an amazing tool. If you're on X or Twitter and you've not tested this method, definitely recommend it. And if you want to get my full framework for using this, you can get it inside the AI Success Lab, which is completely free. It's a community link in the comments description, or just ask ChatGPT for Julian Goldie's AI Success Lab. And if you go to the classroom here, go to January, you can find all the notes and the framework, plus a custom training on extra stuff on this. Also included the resources from today, and additionally the framework and a 30-day plan for automating this, right? So I've actually created a 30-day framework that you can copy and steal from me. And additionally, I've plugged in 100 prompts that you can use to steal from this. Now, if you want the actual custom prompt that I've used to generate these outputs, because I can't share Claude projects, right? You can't share Claude projects. So what I'm actually going to do is I will take the information from the instructions here. And then if you want to get the prompts I've used, I will paste that at the bottom, right? So notes for training Claude. Let's plug that in. And then you've got all the hooks that have worked for me, all the processes that work for me, and the information that you can just plug into a Claude project. Or if you prefer using ChatGPT or something like that, you can just plug that into a custom GPT instead, right? But the main thing is here that you've got all of my processes that work for me, and you can see it's performing pretty well so far. And as you create more content, it gets better and better. It's a positive feedback loop, right? Because every tweet that you test is either going to train the AI on what to do or what not to do. Both as equally as powerful, right? Now, some people will say, well, I need to be creative every day to post good content. Really, the new belief here is like systems beat creativity. So your best ideas are already documented in your analytics, right? So think about it like this, like, you look at someone like Cristiano Ronaldo, for example. He doesn't improvise every goal that he scores. He practices the same moves thousands of times, and then he just executes it when it matters, right? He implements it when it matters. So you're winning tweets of practice moves, and then Claude helps you implement that at scale, right? Other people will say, well, AI content sounds robotic and generic. Honestly, I've tested this method, and our tweets actually perform better with Claude than they do with my normal processes, right? So this works way, way better. And I think, really the new belief here to empower you to win with this is like AI matches the quality of the instructions you give it, right? It's only as good as the data you train it on. So when I started, like my Claude outputs were terrible, right? If we go up to the top here, you can see this is all in red, like none of my tweets performed, right? And then as I got more and more data, you can see we got more and more greens. We got better performing tweets, right? And so my point here is like before my instructions were terrible. And if you have like something generic like write my tweets, that's never going to work. But if you say write my tweets using these 5 patterns from my top performers, avoiding these 3 mistakes from my flops, in this voice with these characteristics, well, then you're going to get something that's 10 times more accurate. So the AI just reflects the quality of your input. Garbage in equals garbage out, but gold in equals gold out, right? Other people say, well, I don't have time to analyze my content. You don't. And the thing that I would say here is like if you're creating content, you don't have time not to analyze, because every hour of analysis might save you like 100 hours of wasted posting, right? This is really interesting as well. So I actually track every single minute of my time, the date, the task, what it's related to, and the minute spent, right? And you know what I found is like most people spend 80% of their time on activities that produce 20% of their results. So 1 hour analyzing your top tweets equals months of direction. And if you skip the analysis, you're going to get months of random posting, just hoping something works. So which one sounds more efficient to you? And that's basically how it goes. Other people say, well, big accounts, they're growing, I can't catch up, etc. But the thing is, everyone started from zero, right? And the other cool thing is like big accounts found their patterns faster, and you can find yours too with the right system, which is what I'm showing you today. So thanks so much for watching. You can get all the video notes inside the AI Success Lab. And then if you want to join a community of people winning with systems like this, I post all of my best systems for automating content, automating my business, etc. with AI inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Inside there, you're going to get an amazing community. We've even got a daily accountability group check-in, as you can see. You can post your wins, you can post your goals, you can ask questions. Loads of people winning with this stuff, as you can see as well, inside the AI Profit Boardroom. And then additionally, if you struggle with overwhelm, for example, you can get our focus protocol that actually helps you avoid shiny object syndrome and helps you focus on like what's the biggest constraint in your business and then how can you solve it, right? On top of that, inside the Start Here section, we have a complete masterclass that takes you from complete beginner with AI to mastering this stuff in just 5 weeks. Now, if you're already familiar with AI and you want to automate stuff like, for example, AI avatar videos, I actually break down my process here in terms of how we create AI avatar videos, how we generate these on Facebook, then you can post them to X as well, like we do. This is an AI avatar video, for example, and they tend to perform pretty well. Also, if you want to get clients, we have a full agency course here that shows you how to get more clients based on what works for us. We have an AI SEO automation section that helps you rank #1 inside Google and also other AI search engines, and a full YouTube 6-week roadmap. On top of that, if you want to jump on coaching calls live with an expert, you can actually jump on coaching calls 4 times a week with a PhD trained specialist who can help you really understand how to improve your business and give you customized advice based on what's working for us. So you can get that all inside the AI Profit Boardroom, link in the comments and description. Appreciate you watching, and I will see you on the next one. Cheers, peeps. Bye-bye.